Hello and welcome back to the Real Estate Marketing Show. My name is Mike Bjorkman, and my lovely co-host for today is Julie Odell.
Hi.
Hello, everybody.
How's it going?
It's going awesome. So this is episode number 22.
Hmm.
You know what I wanted to mention to you guys is we were going to just start talking real estate, and I said, you know what? Let's go ahead and get the first, say, 40 episodes down to where you could have a full-blown encyclopedia for an agent to start from brand new to come into our podcast and be very successful from that. Then after that, and Julie agreed with me, that we'll start talking about local market trends, what's going on, and tell some neat real
Nationwide.
estate stories. Yeah, and talk about what we know that's going on. So I hope you guys agree. I thought that was a great idea. I hope we've enjoyed the last episodes. We've been working really hard on them and getting some amazing feedback across the country. So thank you. And if you are listening to the podcast, and I guess you could rate the YouTube channel too. Hi, YouTube. I
Share
forgot.
it.
Yeah, share this stuff with your friends. Rate us high. Do whatever you can. You know, reviews are such a big thing. Gosh, it's another good idea. I just saw a whole webinar the other day on reviews
Okay, I'll write that in.
and how important reviews are getting between Google and Facebook and Yelp and all this stuff. I'm like, man, it's just such a social world these days. So something that's a really big deal in my office now as we near that 200 agent work is teams, right?
Oh, for sure.
So if you don't know, Julie's our recruiter, so she hears more about this than I do. Tell me some of the things that you hear, what's going on around the office.
So right now, yeah, 200 agents coming on. I think because our broker, Team Bjorkman,
Yep, that's a team.
that's a team, and a lot of our successful agents, they're really two heads seem to be better than one, and so the question always comes up: should I be on a team? What does that consist of? What does that look like? The buyer's agent question comes up a lot because we
Yeah.
do have some up and coming agents that are really just hitting the pavement, and they're getting a lot more business and maybe not really sure where they should be delegating.
Right.
And if they should just, if it's going to continue to, are you going to double your business if you add a buyer's agent?
Right. It's a very valid question.
So yeah, there are some pretty serious questions, and so we have been doing a lot of team building training and
Yeah, so you guys might see a little PowerPoint up here once we start talking stuff. And we do a lot of live training in our office. So this is just a little PowerPoint that I used when we did our live training. It's not branded to the show or anything, so bear with us. But I remember back when I was new in the business, and I started getting 4 or 5 escrows, 6 escrows. Like, wow, this is really a lot of work. I need somebody to staple, file, drop lock boxes, hang sign writers, all this stuff.
that was even before all the social media stuff too.
Yeah, it was ridiculously long time ago. 1991.
No. But
But
that
it
could
was
be very time
but it was
consuming.
real. I was like, and then when things slowed down a little bit, I was like, well, actually, I'll do back up. I was a buyer's agent because originally I was hired as an assistant. I suck at paperwork and organizational skills, so I got fired within 2 weeks from that job. But with the same agent, he said, well, why don't you be an agent? Obviously, you're born and bred to be an agent. So I was kind of a buyer's agent immediately.
So do you recommend that for a brand new agent?
I don't. No, I recommend this podcast. Listen to this, and everything you
yeah.
need to know is right there.
That's awesome.
But what I learned quickly is being a buyer's agent for me, anyways, wasn't what I wanted to do. So I was like our area's first listing agent underneath another agent, and I was doing more listings than my lead agent. So we also had a transaction coordinator, which we were top agents, and a lot of people didn't have a transaction coordinator. And so in our little town, which back then was only 100,000 people, now well over 250, we're like a real town now with real teams and real technology and all that. But
Roads
anyways,
and everything.
roads and bridges. Oh my gosh, we actually have drive-throughs. But the point I'm trying to make is, I remember back, and I can kind of feel like maybe some of you agents, the struggle's real. I feel what you're going through. So that's kind of why I love to train and love to get you up to speed. So I guess we can dive right in, right? When we talk about team building, we ask ourselves, is the time now? And the very first reason we do that is we feel overwhelmed, right? We were just kind of talking about that. So that's one of the reasons we might do it. And I always say, and some people get offended by this, but are you doing things that a monkey can do? So a monkey can drag things across the room and file and do kinds of weird stuff. And the bottom line is if you can get paid or pay somebody $10 an hour to do what you're doing, you need to stop doing that. Because,
Child labor. We've talked about that before. If your kids can do it.
Exactly. So, and that's so funny. My kids were raised stuffing envelopes and notepads,
Yeah.
and
I think the first time I met everybody, they had all these papers off to the side and they were filing everything away. It was like
Yeah.
junior accounting.
yeah, absolutely. So obviously, we as real estate agents were paid a lot of money per hour, and just there's nothing you could do or say about that. Averages out usually for the typical agent $300 to $500 an hour. So if you could pay somebody $10 an hour to do something, you're not using your time wisely. No days off. That was mine. That was a really big deal. I worked 7 days a week because I worked buyers too by myself. And I was like, well, guess what? If you're working with 5 to 10 buyers, there's going to be half of them that want to work the weekends or the weekdays. You just need the weekdays to get, go to meetings and get normal stuff done. So I was working 7 days a week, sometimes 24 hours a day without a break. After I got done showing property, I'd go back and I'd start digging in the paperwork. Then I'd start on marketing, and then I'd start on prospecting and stuffing
You're not even
mailers.
getting into
And
the open house.
yeah, and honestly, it was 24 hours a day a lot of times.
Easily. No, then the overwhelm, that is
Yeah.
very real.
Back to that, overwhelmed. Burnout. A lot of us go through burnout. They're like, you know what? I don't want to do any of this anymore. Screw this.
That's why
hiring
it's
an
so hard
assistant.
for them to be consistent.
Yeah, that real estate roller coaster we talk about. And then some people like certain tasks. Like some people say, I only want to show property. Some people say, I only want to list homes. Like me, I only want to list homes. I don't want to do anything else, like nothing. I don't want to ever have somebody in my car. I don't ever want to do anything technological. I just want to list a house and then go back and go on with my life. So there's another reason to be on a team. And then, do you want to be rich? Now, a lot of people have different ideas of what rich is, but I think anybody can get to that spot in their life where people go, man, that person's rich. And one thing I can promise you is you'll never be there doing it on your own. It'll never happen, and that's just the way it is. Unless you took every penny and invested it the right way that you made, but nobody does that, and they go through severe burnout before that happens. And it's funny that I say that. I can think of one guy I know that did that, and he's actually super wealthy, and he's only had a transaction coordinator for the last
Shout
25
out to
years.
him.
Yeah. Yeah, so we talk about is the time now, and there's different things that you could do. Buyer's agent, and that's a lot of what a lot of people start out with a buyer's agent, which is okay. And they say, should I use the company transaction coordinator? And yes, absolutely. That's if you don't sell a house, you don't have to pay them, right?
But how is a buyer's agent honestly just a buyer's agent? Because they're still going to have sphere of influence. They're
Right.
still going to have they're still doing their database. They're still doing
Right.
social media now is actually easier. They're still doing open houses.
You're absolutely right. So we call them a buyer's agent, but really they might be a team agent, right? But there are some agents that are only working buyers. So on our team, it's different. We let some deal with listings and some not, depending on their skill set. But some legitimately only work with buyers. And that's their job. And there's certain different types of buyer's agents. One might be you work the sphere of influence of the team lead agent, or you only work sign calls, or you only work internet leads, depending on the size of the
how
team.
many leads really has to be generated per, I guess, delegated person?
Well, we know that about 50 leads is the most any one buyer's agent can handle. And I'm going to sneeze. Excuse me. So glad that's on camera too. But the reality is 50 leads is about as much as any one buyer's agent can handle.
Okay.
So if you're an agent like us, we're producing 200-300 leads a month. You need
You
several.
need someone.
Yeah. Or you just need them to take the cream of the crop, but then you never have your leads being nurtured and cultivated, which is no good either.
Which we've talked about in other podcasts.
Absolutely. So go back and listen to some other ones. Personal assistant. People say, what's the difference between a company transactionator and a personal assistant? There's a lot of control freaks out there that say, I want to do all my paperwork. I don't want anybody else to touch my paperwork, but I do want somebody to cook, clean.
I know, I was going to say dry cleaning.
Yeah, pick up dry cleaning. That's always comes up because legitimately dry cleaning and putting gas in my car are the two things I hate more than anything on this earth,
Yep.
except for having an actual buyer in my car. So we can move on with some of those other things. Your normal assistant that does kind of maybe everything, your transactions and your personal assistant, which most of us have when we start out. And then we can sub out tasks. And what we mean by sub out tasks is virtual assistants. There's a lot of really good virtual
I
assistants
always
out
feel
there.
like that gets missed, and a lot of
It
people
does. It really does.
don't even know where to begin with that.
Right.
And how did you get started with that and feel comfortable doing something like that?
I started out actually, the first VAs we ever used was because of Michael Hellickson, our
Shout out.
coach. Yeah, shout out to Club Wealth. He actually owned a virtual assistant company. And I started talking to some of the people in my referral network, our REO network, our default network, basically. And they're like, oh, yeah, I love this VA. And they do everything for $2 an hour. I'm like, wait a minute. If this person's happy, I'm somewhat happy too. So we started using some of them, and a lot of things that they can do. BPOs, broker price opinions, if you don't know what that is, appraisals for properties. And you think, how could they do that from the Philippines? How
Right.
could they do that from India? And believe it or not, they're better at it than us. You just got to go take the
And then you
pictures.
take credit for it?
Yeah, oh, absolutely. Absolutely. But I mean, there's a lot of things they can do. There's virtual assistants all over the country that are transaction coordinators. We opened an escrow this morning and I got an email from this person. I'm like, hey, this was a really good professional email. I'm going to try to steal her for our company. And I pulled it up and she's somewhere back east. I'm like, oh, never mind. So anyways, virtual assistants are one of the ways you could sub out tasks. Subbing out tasks is somebody to do your social media.
That one's huge.
Like Deanna, we use Stark Social. That's subbing out that if you don't know how to do your social media. So when you start listening to all the stuff we're talking about, there's so much stuff that you can actually need help with. So there's a couple books out there that we've been reading, and basically what we figured out is delegate, automate, or eliminate. And that's how to be successful in real estate. Delegate as much as you can so you can be productive. Automate, use the technology. And if none of that is doable, such as door knocking, eliminate it. And again, for you door knockers, I'm not saying eliminate it. That would just be something I would eliminate because I can't really delegate it very well.
Well, now go back because you
can't
do
handle it.
always talk about doing the top 3 things that you're good at, that you love.
Yeah. So what we do is we try to work smarter, not harder, and we pick things that are easy to do, delegatable, and things that we're really good at. So
Because if you love them, they're so much, they're more productive.
right. If you
You're
hate
gonna
your
get more
job,
of
you're
it.
never going to do good at it.
Right.
So the beauty about real estate is you can love your job and hate your job at the same time. So if you're a buyer's agent and maybe your team lead says, go do an open house, and you hate open houses, now you hate your job.
Right.
But if your team lead says, go out and Facebook all your friends, message them, see what they want to, if they want to buy or sell. And you're like, oh, this is fun. I'm starting conversations. Now you're having a blast. So in our business, we're quite lucky. There's so many things we can do that we would like. So the question comes up, should I join a team? And in our business, being a management team at a big brokerage, there's a lot of people that get frustrated, right? They come to you and say, I'm just not making it in this business.
Right. They've been on this horrible roller coaster. They just got their license, or they've had it forever, and it's just gone up and down. The marketing's changing. The shiny objects are hitting them in the face.
Yeah, exactly. So they say, should I join a team? And that's what a lot of people say. And there's a bunch of different reasons why, and we'll just throw them up here on the screen here. You know, you have that team atmosphere, which a lot of people love the camaraderie. I swear some of the
accountability.
people on my team are only on it because of our meetings, and they
Yep.
like to be on the calls every day. Great word that you just use is accountability. It's hard for me to say because I hate accountability, but there are people out there based on personality styles that love it, and good for them. I just,
Which personality style?
well, usually the amiable and the analytical, right?
Okay.
They're going to love that. Not that an analytical loves team atmosphere, don't get me wrong, but they do love the look at my project's done. I did this. Give me a pat on the back.
Somebody to show them
say, yeah,
to. Yeah.
here's my project and completed. Less overhead is a big one, right? Because if you want to be consistent in real estate, you have to be spending a lot of money on overhead. I'll just throw a round number out, about 25 grand a month it costs us to do our business. Most agents will have a heart attack hearing that. Oh my God, I have to sell 10 houses in Florida, or I have to sell at least 4 in California to do that.
Do you have to qualify that and kind of say how many people are on your team for that amount?
No,
Okay.
because 2 people could spend 25 grand, 1 person could, 20 could. Just depends on how much you're doing, which is a good podcast for later. But some people don't even like writing checks for their dues. We find that out. And they're like, oh my God, that's overhead. Car insurance overhead. I don't even consider that stuff overhead. I just consider marketing overhead. And I guess I could probably say our marketing doesn't even include our overhead, but having admins in place where they don't have to go hire and write consistent paychecks, because we pay on the 1st and the 15th, and god dang does it roll around fast.
Your
It's
attitude
like,
goes with it.
yeah, it's like, it's like, well, Julie must be on payroll. But man, it's like every 2 weeks.
Oh yeah.
In 2 weeks, like what happened to the last middle weekend? It wasn't
Mhm.
there. So, anyways, and then the leads handed to them in the training is invaluable for a lot of people. Like you're running a team right now,
Mhm.
and those agents are able to have leads handed to them.
Mhm.
What is their general attitude when leads are handed to them?
Oh my gosh, it's amazing. It's like a Christmas gift.
Yeah, how does that happen? Where do these leads come from?
Yeah. They just dropped into their lap from a website.
Somebody's worked hard for them.
You paid. Yeah, we paid for them.
Or the people that we pay have worked hard to
Yes,
get those.
yes,
You know what I mean?
yes.
So
Yeah, to
um,
get on a Google site searched
yeah, Google
and
AdWords are amazing.
mhm, dropped
Find,
in. But yeah, when you give them a lead and it's hot and they call them and that person's raring to go, it's incredible.
yeah, no, I love it, and I actually love to see the people start producing. Like little Amanda on our team, and she listens to these, so
Like religiously.
I'm
too,
not
so.
afraid to say her. Shit's her job. So, but I mean, she got her first listing the other night
Aw,
off a lead that,
congratulations.
yeah, I
That's
mean, off
awesome.
a sync lead,
Yeah.
and she even sent me a picture at the listing. She's like trying to take pictures all on the down low of the lady signing the contract.
Aw,
But
that's
those are, I
awesome.
love seeing those things, right? And then, of course, with that comes the training. Training sometimes, again, is invaluable for a new agent. Most brokers out there deliver zero value to their agents. So a lot of times they go, well, I want to be on a team so I can learn to do what you do. So those are great reasons to be on a team, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with that.
Did your team leaders always train, or is it just are you just because you're in the car with them? You're
Yeah,
gonna
I
hear
mean,
that
you learn by
conversation.
osmosis. Like our top agents, the agents that go work for them, they're always in the office together, and they learn by osmosis, and they listen and watch, just like I did. I went out on my own and got extra training from all our mentors and our coaches that we still currently have, and then they're just normal training days where your agent pulls you aside and says, "Look, I'm going to show you how to do an open house." And hopefully you're on the right team if they're going to do that and if you're going to do that. So team sounds pretty good, right? I
Oh, for
mean,
sure. Yeah. No, I don't think I would do it any other way. I think that's actually what kind of held me back. I got my license 2006, and with not enough information and nobody to learn from, you don't have that confidence.
oh,
Aw.
that made me feel bad.
But
Well,
now,
now you could teach these classes.
oh,
So,
absolutely.
so the cons of a team. We talk about the pros, we cons of a team. Talk about the cons. One for me would be expectations, right?
Accountability.
Yeah, like, hey, I expect you to, call 50 people a day, and that is absolutely accountability.
Get a listing
It,
from this many leads that I give you.
right. And you're like, oh man, you got the pressure on there to do that all the time. Well, when you write the check for 10 grand, you don't have to hold yourself accountable. You don't have to have expectations, but obviously it's good that you do. Um, Talked a little bit about that. Less freedom. That's a big one. Like I had an agent that worked for me a couple of years ago, and she went to work with a competitor, and I learned quickly. I go, wow, here's your schedule now. Now you get Saturday and Tuesday off. I mean, what the F is that? I mean, you can't even go away for 2 days. Put in your 7-day vacation twice a year, way ahead of time. I'm like, that is bullshit. So, I don't know. Being on a team, there's pros and cons, right? And that to
Mm-hmm.
me, that's a con. But if you like the accountability, new systems, learning new systems is really hard for some of our team agents,
Oh
right?
my gosh, because you're throwing shiny, really incredible systems at them, and the
Right,
expectation to learn them in a week
right,
and master them and close a deal from them.
right. So we had somebody on our team, which was mind blowing to me, who's no longer on our team. I asked her, I said, look, it's really important. This new app came out. Here's an iPad. Go do this open house app. And it takes it, puts them on a drip campaign, all that. No, I like the little leather book. I'm like, no. When you work for me, you do
You
the
embrace
dang
technology.
iPad, right?
Yeah.
And she's like, nope, I want to do the little book. Finally, I convinced her to do it. Somebody stopped by and she was using the little book, right? Insta fired. But those are new systems. Sometimes there's a lot like you
If
have to
you're
learn.
listening, I'm sorry.
Yeah, you have to learn.
It's teaching an old dog new tricks, but
Yeah, and it's like even if those systems work better, it doesn't matter. Your team leader gets to pick now. So those are some of the cons I would consider. What else do we have on our list here? Less money. This is a very interesting, debatable one. We can talk about that in a little bit. So let's talk about money. Open houses, right? There's agents. I had a Coal Banker agent call me last night begging to do an open house. And I told her, I said, you know what? I'm so proud that you called the broker of another huge company to ask if you could do open houses at his listings. I said, you can't. We have plenty of people to do our open houses, but I'm serious. Keep
like
calling.
cojones,
Somebody is going to let you do that. So when you're on a big team or your team leader has a lot of listings, man, you never have the endless opportunity to do open houses. And for you newer agents out there, I think open houses is your absolute number one, most important, crucial way.
It's like a
To
gateway.
get business. Yeah,
Yeah.
it opens up the floodgates for everything. Some of the other things are sign calls. I mean, busy agents, let's face it. We have probably 4 or 5 just little REOs out there right now, but they're good deals in their hot areas and everybody wants them. I can't handle the sign calls. So today we've assigned, 1 or 2 of our agents to handle those sign calls. And with the proper training, converting sign calls is better than any internet lead because they're typically in front of the house, already know the area, already know the price range, already know everything. And they're just like, get me in. So then it gives you a much better opportunity, a quicker opportunity to meet them face to face.
Yeah, not as much cultivating.
Right. It's totally different that way. Purchase leads are amazing. We know that, right? We're like I think I told you last time, we have 14 escrows today. Excuse me, from leads that we purchased.
Right. You genuinely turned on the lead faucet, turned it up.
Yeah. It reminds me I had to turn it down. We can't handle it anymore. But the reality is some agents aren't comfortable buying leads. They can't afford to buy leads. So, hey.
Or even where, because I think they get kind of bombarded with Zillow, Trulia, like all the ones that you always
Dude,
say.
I'm telling you, I get that question every single day.
Where
Agents come to
should
me
I
and say,
spend
where
the
should I
money?
spend? Okay, what's your budget? Well, I want to spend like $300 a month. I'm like, oh, I don't know what to tell you because I know $200, $300 a month doesn't buy you anything. I'd say go out and get a Facebook ad,
Buy a sign.
Yeah, but they want to spend money on Zillow or Trulia or Homes.com. I mean, there's so many of those websites now.
Just when we talk about our technology, there's one page that shows that we syndicate to 300 different sites, like even Overstock and just crazy sites that you would never even realize are on there.
Exactly. So where are we at here? Another one. Street credibility too. This is a huge one, and my agents I know appreciate it. When you have a good reputation in the community and throw somebody else's name around that has a lot of trust, they're walking in as brand new agents listing homes based on my name. Like, hey, look, our team leader is going to handle this. And they're like, sure, let me list with you. So street credibility is a really big thing. And I used to like go, God, I don't want to say that because I don't want to sound cocky. But the reality is that's what you get to do by being on somebody who's put in the 20, 25 years of hard work, spent hundreds of thousands of dollars getting their brand out there. Now you can come in. It doesn't even, not even that you're new, just maybe you don't have a brand. And now people will say, oh, okay.
Well, and we talk about that in our trainings too, that as an agent that works for you, even though they're not on the team, if they get into a little bit of a pickle or maybe just a conversation, then sometimes it is worth
Absolutely.
saying, I'm with Mike Bjorkman's office.
Yeah, and then I'm sure there's a lot of brokers out there listening, but the reality is I get so many calls from potential clients from our agents saying, hey, I just interviewed so-and-so and I just want to make sure you got their back and you're going to walk them through this and all that stuff because they did use my name for street cred. And since we encourage it and they do it, I'm like, yeah, absolutely. I'll be more than happy to sit down with you and show you and tell you what our agents are capable of. And I love doing that.
And to be honest with you too, I mean, we've talked the last one that we were doing, the last podcast, we talked about 60% of the business comes from their sphere and their referral. So they're not necessarily going to use another agent. They want to use that person.
Yeah,
that's
a
their
good
family.
point.
That's their friends. Those are their peeps.
But they feel more comfortable and confident knowing somebody a little bit more experienced or maybe somebody who markets a little better is backing them. That's a great point. I would have never thought of that. Thank you for pointing that out. So the lead agent referrals, that is a huge one. So I'll have maybe 5 calls a week saying, "Hey, Mike, I want to buy a house." Well, you know how I feel about putting a buyer in my car. Let me help you, right? So I've seeked out good agents that I can trust, my friends and relatives and
Your
sphere of
sphere.
influence with, and they get to be legitimately handed a pre-approved, motivated, buy today buyer. And for some people, that's really hard to find. So, I mean, now all of a sudden it's like, hey, there's a lot more money on being a team than I thought. Because a
So
lot of the
even though
cons
you're
is, well, I don't want to split, you know, whatever your split is, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70%, whatever it is, all of a sudden, you know, some money is better than no money. And the no overhead part, I mean, if you don't know and you're not on a team or haven't had a team, overhead in real estate runs 40 to 50% on average.
wow.
That's just overhead. And that's marketing, employees, assistants, whatever you want to say. I mean, copy machine leases.
TC.
Yeah, it runs 40 to 50%. So now, if you're getting, let's just say you were getting 50%, now it's not a bad deal, right?
Right.
You get leads handed to you, plus, you know, there you go.
So if you want to be on a team, though, you're going to be busy.
Yes, you're going to be busy. And that's what a lot of people want to do. They
Because
just don't
not
know how to quite do that.
everybody, not, you know, throughout our company, we've seen everyone's goals are different.
Right.
Why are they doing real estate? Everyone's why is very different.
Right.
And so I think that is usually, like right now, we are running the team. And when agents are joining and they want the leads handed to them, I've had some agents that will do it for a week and they're too busy.
Yeah.
That's hard.
Yeah. You never know when they're going to get busy. So the last thing we would talk about is just the organic web leads. I mean, just our
That's what we're
unpaid websites. When you have 20, 30 listings, the leads fly in. So it's not even paid leads all the time. It's just sign calls, but they come in through the web. And that's where you start adding up 200, 300 leads a month, and you can start dividing these up and having them pre-qualified and pre-approved, all that whatnot. But so if to round this up, I mean, what do you feel about a team right now?
Yeah. Yeah.
You like the idea if you're an agent?
Still 50-50. It really depends on the person.
Yeah, and
It
exactly what I was going to
really-
say. It's a win-win for the people on the team that like that experience. It's a win for them. For the team leader like me, it's definitely a win-win because look, I'm not doing a lot of the work anymore. I'm willing to double or triple my production and share that money so I don't have to do tasks that I don't like to do or
But
I
there
don't want to do. Or I
there
don't
are
want to.
still people that are successful that don't want to manage people.
Right.
They want to manage real estate.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. So whether you're on the team lead side or the team agent side, you know, one of the things we know to be successful in the years coming, you're either going to build a team or be on a team. Teams are kind of taking over our industry.
We didn't even talk about expansion teams.
Yeah, no.
That's a whole nother podcast.
Yeah, exactly. We don't have time for that. But you guys, seriously, thanks for listening. And Julie, thanks for your help. You had a lot of great insight on this and a couple things that I put in my memory bank for our next upcoming classes. And if you guys like this, will you please share it with your friends, relatives, family members, anybody who you feel is a real estate agent that deserves to survive out in this jungle.
In any
and
market.
Yeah, and this is something that's going to work, like you said, in any market. And rate us 5 stars if you would. Share it. Put it on social media. Put it in some of your real estate groups. And brokers, feel free to share this with your agents. And we'll always be here to answer questions. So reach out to us anytime, and we'll be more than happy to get back to you. So on to episode number 23.
23.
See you guys next time. Take care.